behind me, I felt like two angels, like two really tall angels. But it was interesting because they were dark. They felt like angels. They felt like strong, like we got you.
Okay.
And then I just continued, my self hypnosis. And then the experience was suddenly I was out of body, I guess, in a way. I guess I'll never really know the right terminology, but I was there in the meadow, and to my left, there was just all these beings, all these people. And I looked over at them, and I was just thinking to myself, well, what are they doing here? There's just all these people. And
Hmm.
suddenly, as I'm watching them,
So, Mrs. or Miss, well, I think it's
it's
you're
Mrs.
married,
Yeah,
right? Are
it's
you?
Mrs. Right now.
Okay, Mrs. Hilary Leehane. Um, so we've okay, this is my first interview with you interviewing you because you already interviewed me on this podcast called The Laughing Lotus. And so I just want to back up a bit because of how I found you, because I saw that you're obviously a hypnotist that does past life regressions. But the story that caught my attention was you kind of had, I think it was you're going to correct me if I'm wrong, was an OBE or meeting Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
What we're gonna do it to we're gonna I want to back up a bit and start off like what was your life prior
Mhm.
to the experience you had, so we can just start from there and
Yeah.
see where.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was born in Kingston. No, I'm just kidding. So basically I had a life of the perpetual student, right? So I was in university and college for many years, kind of hopping
Okay.
around. I finally everything kind of worked together what I was studying, but it was from an outside perspective. It was like, Hillary, what are you doing with your life? Like you want to be this thing, and now you're that thing. Um, so I finally landed on industrial design. So I would design product, and I thought I had my life all figured out. So my life before my out of body experience was spiritual in a way. I was headed down the route of NDEs, like really interested in them, and back then there wasn't a lot. Um, there was IANS and NDERF, and I just blasted through reading that stuff. There was Lee Witting.
And what year was that roughly? How
That
long
was
was that?
I was trying to think of this the other day. I keep saying 10 years. It was 2000, like it was probably between like 8 and 10 years ago.
Okay, so we did have internet, so
Oh
there's kind of a way
yeah,
to
it wasn't.
research,
Yeah, before
but
you.
it wasn't well, not that well, I guess. Well,
That's okay.
that was that's
Yeah.
good.
So, between 8 and 10 years ago-ish. So and I thought, why the heck am I so into NDEs? I mean, they are fascinating, but I was next level obsessed. And of course, at that time, YouTube didn't have a lot on it. There was probably, I tried to guess the other day as well, like maybe 100 videos. Now it's just flooded, right? Um, I mean, that's an understatement. Um, but anyway, I I graduated in industrial design. I got into the workforce, and I basically my soul was just like, no, you're done. Like before I was out the gate, I was done. So I wound up with a incredibly rare, apparently rare sleeping disorder, and because of that sleeping disorder, I basically went into a deep, deep depression and anxiety, and
So can you just explain the sleeping disorder was, is it a lack of sleep, or
yeah.
so you had kind of an insomnia?
So what would happen is I would just be falling asleep, and my body would violently twitch me awake. So my shoulders would twitch up, my leg, mostly my shoulders and my guts, my jaw. Um,
I've never heard of that. Ow, it's
it
been rough.
it very rough. Yeah, very rough.
Yeah.
Very
Okay.
rough. So I ended up on medication and all the stuff, but eventually I had hypnosis to bring me up out of that, and it worked. And so after that, I mean, after so many years, I think I worked it out to be like 10 or 11 years I was in colleges and universities, like getting all my training. And I just had to sort of let that go, that life, because I felt like I couldn't go back to it. Right? I couldn't go back to it because my soul wasn't into it. So I thought, okay, well, hypnosis really helped me with this anxiety, symptoms of depression, sleep disorder. So I thought, okay, I want to help people just like me. So I trained in hypnosis. Now, so this is where the OBE starts to happen is in the training. That's where my experience happened when we were learning self-hypnosis towards the end of the training. So that's when the OBE ended up happening. But prior to that, I was very into near-death experiences, and I didn't know what the heck I was going to do with all this knowledge.
But you were
I was kind of
kind of
spiritual,
spiritually
yeah.
inclined. Like you believed that there was
Oh
something
yeah,
out there because of the NDEs. You were never a atheist mind, like there was nothing. You always were
curious.
curious because you had a
Yeah,
gut feeling and
yeah.
you did research on it.
But definitely
Okay.
to preface
Okay.
this, like you mentioned Jesus in the beginning, I did not grow up in like a religious household. Like Jesus was not anything to me.
You just knew of him from
Yeah,
the
yeah.
religion, right? Because we all know who he
Exactly, right? Yeah,
is
I just
or
knew
was
I just
or
knew
is.
about him. Um,
Right.
we would watch the movie Jesus Christ Superstar, and like that's the extent of it. Right? That was the extent of it.
The
Yeah.
death.
Oh my gosh. So, so yeah, to get I guess to my out of body experience or what have you, whatever that was. I was in self hypnosis. No, we were in a so if you think of like a big room, um, and this long table, and I'm gonna guess there was maybe 7 of us training, and everyone was in their own self hypnosis, right? So my trainer was at the front of the room. She was bringing us through recognitions to say to ourselves, like recognitions, kind of like affirmations, to say to ourselves to go into a self hypnosis state, which is,
Okay. Basically guide
yeah,
you into that
basically like a
state.
relaxed state, highly focused on
Okay.
just saying those recognitions, those affirmations. And so what ended up happening, I keep forgetting this part with my stories, but I'm gonna say it in this one, is behind me I felt like two angels, like two really tall angels. But it was interesting because they were dark. They weren't like bright white flowing angels. They were kind of dark, and that doesn't mean bad.
Dark, like in a
No, not
shadow
a
way,
shadow.
or
Almost
dark in
not
appearance?
a shadow. Almost like a strength, like a concrete, almost like sturdy. I don't know how to describe it, but not shadow.
Was it visual though? Was it visual
It
or was
was
it
a
just a
feeling
feeling?
and internal visual. So like my eyes were closed, right? So I felt and saw them here. And yeah, right?
That is
Very cool.
cool. We are like, but
Yeah, yeah,
okay. I
yeah.
gotta ask you a question before you get there. Was it
No,
scary?
not at all.
Or okay, you had a good,
Yes.
you were okay with the feeling. It was like because you mentioned they were
Yes.
angels
They
because
felt like angels. They felt like strong, like we got you angels, And I didn't think much of it. I was like, oh, this is nice. This is interesting. What's going on here?
another question before. How do you know they were
That's
angels?
what they looked like internally, right? So
Okay,
I'm very
gotcha.
visual. My mind works in visuals. Um,
Me too. Same
yeah.
way. Yeah,
All right.
same way.
And so they were there, and I was a little like, oh, why are they dark? But I felt they're not dark. Maybe dark's the wrong word. They were just a different cut. They weren't white, right? But they were just like,
Right. What everybody assumes glowing
yeah, no, it
beauty
wasn't like,
the halos
no,
and the
no,
okay, got you. But they were not dark evil.
no,
They were dark
God.
positive
Yeah,
love.
they were positive. It very much was a feeling of we've got you, or I've got you.
We've got you. Your guardians
Yeah, that
probably.
word comes to mind as
Who
well, and did at that time. And then I just continued, my self hypnosis, and then the experience was suddenly I was out of body, I guess, in a way. I guess I'll never really know the right terminology, but we'll just use that, out of body.
well,
Yeah,
let me ask
yeah.
again since you're there, did you out of body meaning did you see your
No,
physical body or did you
I
It
was
wasn't
like
like
in
an
another
astral projection,
place.
maybe?
So maybe astral projection.
Okay, because your eyes, right? Because your astral projection, you're not, you don't see your butt. Because
Yeah.
right, I get it.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to
No, that's good.
categorize the
Yeah.
experience.
So I
Okay,
would say it's
good.
astral
Okay,
projection maybe. And yeah, that would make more sense. So I was in this realm of this meadow. And it was this beautiful meadow with mountains in the back. Actually, I kind of did a little painting over here a while ago.
oh,
Yeah,
no
a little
way!
painting.
That's a nice
Oh, thank
painting,
you.
by the way. Wow. Ah, very good. That's so cool. So you're gonna paint. Oh wow. So, but when you're out, you're kind of. Did you feel physically
Yes.
there?
Yes. And
Okay.
to this,
It wasn't mind. It was
yeah,
you were there. You were
colors,
there. Oh.
emotions, even
Oh,
thinking about
so
it to this
cool.
day, looking back on it, I can be there. Um, and I think, what the heck? Like, how did that even happen? But uh, I've had crazy stuff happen when I've been in meditation and hypnosis. So, I mean, I just chalk it up to another amazing experience. But this was really life changing, this one. So, I was there in the meadow, and to my left, there was just all these beings, all these people, and I looked over at them, and I was just thinking to myself, well, what are they doing here? You know, there's just all these people. And suddenly, as I'm watching them, it's like I played out all this karma with all of them from past lives, let's say. I mean, it must have been past lives. I don't know if soul group, but because it was
Was there a recognition
no,
of who they were in a way? Did you
no,
feel?
I couldn't even
Okay.
tell you like
Okay.
who these people were. But just all of
Okay.
a sudden, I was just in the trenches with them, so to speak, right? Like I was, being unalived. I don't know what they're saying now. Unalived, killed, you know, being all the parts, right? Like all the different people from all the different lives. And so this was jarring, as you can imagine. And I snapped out of it. I snapped out of it and I just was in the room again. My eyes closed, sorry. In the room again. And I felt the angels behind me. And it was like they just had their hands now on my shoulders, right? And I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to go back. I'm going to try to go back. I don't know how I even got there, but I'm going to go back. And so somehow I went back. And now all the people on my left were not just in a giant group of people. They were shoulder to shoulder in like a long lineup that went as far as the eye can see, kind of thing. Just this long lineup, shoulder to shoulder. And Jesus was there in front of me, like the energy signature of
Okay.
Jesus.
Now we ask. That's what I was gonna say. How did you know it was
You
him?
just know.
Knew.
Um,
Okay. You didn't see the
you
beard and
know,
the look. You just it
no,
was an
thank you for
it
asking.
was an
It was
energy feel.
energy and it was a look. It
So it
was
was physical. You
physical.
saw an
Yeah.
actual
There was
face.
physical. There was some physical. It wasn't like I could see the lines on his face or anything, but I could see the general physicality, if that's the right word, of him.
Was he in a robe? I
Um,
mean, hard to say because maybe it was an energy
yeah, it
field,
was
but
both.
you
Yeah.
just knew. Wow, that's so
Yeah.
incredible. Okay, wow. Yeah, that's blowing. That's mind
Yeah.
blowing. Awesome. Wow, so cool. Okay,
No, that's
continue,
okay.
please.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
questions are good because it makes me go back there and go, "Oh, was there a rope?" I could say yes. There is a girl that painted Jesus. I can't remember her name. This amazing painting of Jesus, and he looked just like that painting.
Okay,
She
she
nailed
nailed
it.
it. Okay.
And I
Okay. Oh
have
wow.
heard since then other people say the same thing about her painting. But when I saw that
Okay.
painting, I was like, holy
Right.
crap.
They say, that's him.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's him. Wow. Oh
Yeah.
gosh, that's incredible.
So Jesus
Okay.
came up to me, and he would place this blue crystal stone thing in my hand, right? And then I would turn towards the person, like they're all lined up, shoulder to shoulder, and I would take the blue crystal thing, and I'd put it in their heart center, like that, right? And then go to the next person, the next person. Now I didn't get through all of them. It was didn't last that long.
So was it multiple crystals, or you just take the crystal and touch it to them, and then move to the next?
Yeah, I'd put it was almost like the crystal disintegrated into them, into their chest, into their heart or something. Yeah.
What
And then I'd
the
turn back to
what
Jesus, receive
is?
another
Uh,
crystal, and then do that again and again.
oh no! He kept giving you the crystals to give to
Hmm.
them. Now, who are they? Is the
Well,
question as
that's
well. Is it
interesting.
your past life
That's
people? Is it?
interesting because I was
Is
like,
it?
who are these people? And yeah, a year ago, so this is now well, like years later. So about a year ago, I think it was, I was doing a meditation, just asking, because I go back there now in my meditations. It's not as visual, but it's still the feeling. And I asked, like, who are these people? And the message, whether it's right or wrong, I'm going with right. The message was all my clients that were to be, right?
Oh wow!
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that
Yeah.
is so cool.
So that was kind of neat when that came through.
I'm curious what the crystal is. Like Jesus giving this to you, is it a it's dissolving into them? Is it healing? Is it who
I
what
don't
is that
know.
crystal?
I don't know. I'm sure I could do a meditation
I'm
on
just
that
so curious.
too. I've never done that.
That is so cool. This is like through all the NDEs and OBs I've ever heard of, this is the most
Really?
interesting because it's so detailed. Oh yeah, because it, it sounds like it could be astral projection, but at the same time, who knows? Because you're in a
Yeah.
different realm for
Yeah.
sure. You're
Yeah.
not here. You're somewhere else. Is it heaven? Who knows? Or is it a different dimension? Because these people aren't dead.
Yeah.
They're your future clients. They're alive. So maybe their higher self. Who knows?
Right?
But
Yeah.
wow. Okay. I'm just so that's
Yeah.
amazing. So then, okay, and then
Yeah.
please
So
continue.
then, so what happened was I just came back to the room after that. I didn't see myself going through all these people, right? It was probably, I'm gonna guess like three, and then the it just sort of faded away. So I came back to the room and we wrapped up, and it was late January. So there was a snowstorm outside. Of course. You know how it is, right? So I had to drive like 45 minutes home up the highway, and I I got in the car, I started driving, and suddenly it's like I was having this back and forth like conversation with God or spirit or source or Jesus. I don't know who it was. It felt like oneness, you know. But this conversation was such that I was sort of being given information about how best to treat myself, how to eat properly for me, not for anybody else, but just for me, right? How to eat properly, how to release stuff in my life that I was holding on to, um, just not doing bad things to my body, right?
To improve you, I guess, as a human in this
Yes.
realm, I
Yeah.
guess, and this body physically, of
Yeah.
course, with that, and I guess deleting negative things that could have
Yeah.
been negative, or
Absolutely.
just remove, it's like cleaning yourself
Absolutely.
up in a way. This is what you need to do to, I
It's
guess,
like a
continue
cleanse.
on.
Yeah, it was like a
Who knows?
spiritual cleanse.
Cleanse, right? Cleanse.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Okay, good answer on that one. Okay.
So of
Wow.
course, like I've never been one to hurt myself that bad. But like I'd have wine and sometimes a martini, and I would eat gross stuff, like not gross, but like chips and ice cream all the time and stuff. And the source was like, no, you shouldn't do that. So but the reason was interesting. So I fought with Source on the way home. I was like, well, what about? I said, I said, what about like a wine on the weekend or something, right? Like a nice red. And the answer I got back was, You can, of course you can, but it's not good for our connection. The connection starts to break down, right? The hearing, the
Oh,
listening.
so there, its source was giving you the advice, like you said, to cleanse yourself physically and spiritually to be able to have the communication between the both of you being clear because alcohol and I guess a bad
Mhm.
food puts
Mhm.
blocks.
Yeah. Yeah. So things I was told to stop, and I'm not saying this is for everybody, this was just me. Alcohol, exactly. Alcohol, meat, junk food, stuff like that. So, of course, after 45 minutes of this back and forth, I didn't fight long. I didn't fight too hard. It, I got home and I remember that night, excuse me, I got home and I was just on cloud nine. Like I was so connected in with source, I'm going to say. I felt like a pillar of light was like beaming out of my body towards wherever. And I knew it was like a knowing beyond any knowing that that's where I came from, right? Like we always go back there. Um, and I felt so high on vibrations and connected. I remember saying, I wish I could bottle this stuff and give it because this feeling because it was just over the top amazing, amazing love, connection. Oh God, it was almost like it was more like a knowing comes to mind. And in that knowing, there was no fear. In that knowing, there was no fear. And I used to struggle with fears a lot, especially in relationships. So I was super jealous. I was super overbearing. I was just not in my a good mind. I was very much in fear. And after going through that experience, I came home. I was like, I love the world. I love everybody. Like I love. I'm so connected, and all my fears just dissipated, and this high vibration feeling stayed. But the one thing is that it only stayed for like 3 to 4. It was a long time ago now, but it was like 3 to 4 weeks, and and then life started to get back in the way, right? And the feeling sort of dissipated. But the beautiful part about it is that the fears didn't sorry, the letting go of fears stayed, right? So I stayed. I felt healed. Yeah, that's a good word for it. Healed mentally, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah. So the blissful feeling of that connection kind of, like I
Hmm.
said, dissipated, but you got something out of it because the fear part was a big
Yeah,
part of your life that was negative,
yeah,
not helpful, and it kind of got eliminated
yeah,
or deleted. Kind of like in my
yeah,
bufo
yeah.
experience that I mentioned, right? Like it kind of something that didn't help me process life and move forward without having those negative
Mm,
thoughts. So it's a
it is
cleansing in a
crazy.
way, and it just took some time to.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
that's pretty neat.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that was it was an amazing experience. I always say that the Jesus experience part of it is one thing, but what happened after was the main, like, amazing high vibration experience, right? Um, I remember for a good month, with the high vibrations and stuff, I was like, I'm just gonna say God, oneness, right? I was cloud nine. I would go to the cupboard for everything. I would go to the cupboard or the fridge. Should I eat this? No. Okay. Like there was no questioning God, right? Like there was no.
That is so cool. Yeah, but you'd get the answer right away. I don't have to look at the ingredients. Nope. Out garbage, please.
Yeah.
That's an awesome way to say nutrition. You get from the top best place instead of having to read the
Seriously.
label. Good? No. Good? Yeah. Thanks. Let's make some supper.
It was, yeah. It
That
is so
is
good.
solid. That's a what
Right?
a good
Yep.
advice, an advisory
The
board from
best
God
diet.
himself
The
or
best diet.
herself. So yeah, the best diet. You're live immortal. You're immortal if you follow my steps.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
wow, that's so
All
funny. That's
right.
incredible. Wow. Oh, I love
So,
that. At least I gave you some thought on
y-
what to eat or not up to
yeah.
this day, right?
Yeah. I mean, you
So,
can't say I'm the best at
and
eating, but
a quick question: you mentioned meat. Do you eat meat? Are you vegetarian, or do
I
you
flip flop.
consume
I
certain
flip
meat?
flop now. So I'll go
Okay,
vegetarian for a bit,
I,
and then I'll eat some meat and vegetarian. Meat's not a huge
okay,
part of my diet, but I did end up going back a little bit. Mhm. Mhm.
okay.
Sorry, God.
Just curious. Okay, you heard a.
Right? Yeah.
I
Oh
love
my gosh.
it. This is a classic. Yeah, I never heard that
Right?
before. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So cool. So, do you still get that? Do you ever have the back and forth with? I mean, not as
Yeah.
powerful, but maybe a gut or knowing, like with other things. Does it still happen to
With
you now,
with the high
or is that
vibration stuff? Mhm.
yeah with the kind of source
Yeah.
connection that you because that was like a blissful thing that you had. That was a pretty you were like had it was a one on one that was there like you mentioned for
Yeah.
3 to 4 weeks, but then kind of
Yeah.
dissipated. Does it ever come back, or is it?
Yes, a little bit. It definitely comes back sometimes, but it's not as emotionally rocking, right? It's not as rocking as the first time. After it dissipated, I will say, after it dissipated the first time, after those 3 4 weeks, I was grasping, right? And I think actually this is a good time to say it. I think I'm gonna write like a little, not a big book, but a little book on all this, um, called Grasping the Infinite, because it really is like, and I know a bunch of people that feel this way too, where this feeling dissipates and you start grasping for it. Why is it going? Yeah, it is cool, isn't it? Yeah, grasping the infinite, right? So, as I've learned over the years, because I was in grasping mode back then, um, what I've learned is that, okay, so say you hit that high vibration, right? That is a mental awareness. The body's like, what the heck is this going on? Right? The physical. And we know that it dissipates for people. I think, I feel this has come through that your body's just catching up to the vibration, and then it becomes your new norm, right? So instead of vibrating down here, it's not like you're going from up here to down here. It's like your new vibration is somewhere up here, and now you vibrate up here. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, because to be honest with you, that sounds a lot like what's going to be happening from psychics I've
Mm-hmm.
heard just recently about the
Mm,
shift in a
the
way, right?
5D.
For the shift because now we're supposed we're in
Okay.
4D, which kind of means it's, science has its time, but time
Yeah.
doesn't exist. It's more awareness. 5D I think is even bigger, but 6D supposedly that one is forget it. That's when we're
Yeah.
supposedly no longer need for no more money, no more
Yeah.
food. No, that supposedly will be a different, you know, part of a whole different
Yeah.
species, right? But it's all about vibration. Everything is vibration. Everything is right. So it's kind of like what you're saying that you're kind of it's catching up to that vibe, and you're kind of I get
Yeah.
what you're saying. It's kind of like a shift in a, just categorizing it in a different way, pretty much. But I
Exactly.
get what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah. So that's what I tell people when they tell me that, like, they had an experience where they were holy moly connected, and they feel like they're not anymore, and they feel like they had lasted for so long, and now it's gone. I don't believe, from doing hypnosis, doing meditations, um, from what, through meditations I've been told, and through hypnosis sessions people have told me randomly, is that, like, our body catches up, and then it feels like it's gone, but it's actually your new vibration, right? And even if it's just a couple vibrations higher, like frequency higher, it's enough. It's enough. And so, yes, to answer your question, I have had it in little bits here and there over the years since that first one. Um, uh, and then I feel into that. It doesn't last as long, certainly not 3 to 4 weeks, but um, I feel into it and then it dissipates. But I just reassure myself that I'm sort of moving this way in a sense, moving this way, and my body just plays catch up every time I go into a new vibration.
So I have a question on that. Do you think that any typical human can do that or reach that? Because I know for me, not unfortunately, but I love
Yeah.
psychedelics. Like I mentioned, I'm a psychonaut, and I know that Bufo experiment. I was there. I was part of it. The colors I saw, I was just there's no way. It very more intense than meditating because you're there just for about 15 minutes. But that was my process of kind of
Yeah.
experiencing the realm of eternity. But there is astral projection and stuff where you can meditate. But you think that anybody without psychedelics can attain what you've done, kind of to be that higher frequency? You think
Yeah,
anybody can do it
I
depending on their
do.
spiritual
Yeah,
openness?
I do
Okay.
believe that most everybody can do it. Um, uh, and I wasn't even looking for it, right? So, what I would explain to people is that uh, keep meditating, keep going inward, and just connecting, just connecting with something around you, above you, like just kind of go into that space.
Well, speaking of near-death experiences, I saw someone who had a
Mm,
pre-birth experience, right? Where he literally confirmed that we choose this exact life and we all have a mission and a goal. And I believe what you're doing is that's a reason why you had these
yeah,
meetings with the power itself on waking you up and saying, look, this is your job. This is what you're going to do to, and because you're helping
yeah,
people with your job. I mean, I'm
yeah,
sure you love what you do,
yeah.
right? You wake up, it's a job that you're excited about because you happen to you got hypnotized. It
Hmm.
helps you. That's what got you into it, and now you're doing it as a career. So you're definitely fulfilling your life's purpose from what I can see, right? And that's what my goal is. My big mouth is to do what I'm doing with you. I was going to become a motivational speaker, like I mentioned, but no, I want to interview people who, like yourself, near death, psychedelics, the whole shebang, anything about
Yeah.
spirituality and growth. So that's why this is my
Yay.
first podcast. So that's why I mean, and I thank you for, by the way, again for offering it to me when we had our first meeting. But so the point is, so you think that everybody can get attend that, but you also think that, I mean, some people have obviously it has different purposes, but you'd have to really commit yourself to, I guess, depending on who you are as a person, to be able to attain those things, because that'd be a lot of meditating for someone who's not really who's awoken, who has beliefs in it, but I guess there's a lot that comes into play to get to that. That's a high level you got into. I mean, you gotta, yeah, God is your food advisor. God is your nope, no meat, no this, no wine. Yeah, on the weekends, but if he wants to keep this communication
You're cut off.
happening, no more.
Oh my
You know what I
gosh.
mean? Because we're allowed to
Yeah.
do what we want. That's the cool thing about our planet
Yeah.
is the free will. We can ruin our potential goal of our, our,
Yes.
our purpose and just no, I'm not going to do it. I'll do it next life,
Yeah.
not knowing. But so that's a lot. But okay, so then the vibration, all that stuff. So I want to switch up to a question that I had is about because from what I saw
Yeah.
in one of your interviews with your clients. Okay, so you do past life regressions with people. I'm assuming for multiple factors. Some have issues they want to resolve, and past life regressions because usually help because I think things
Hmm.
can drag on from experience you
Yeah.
had in the past.
Yep.
Would that make sense? So, like one story I heard about was the mermaids in a way, the
Yeah.
manatees. It looked like manatees, but they're
Yeah.
mermaids, or would you
I
call
don't
them
even
mermaids?
know.
Can you
I don't
kind
even
of
know.
what they are?
I
Like the description of what's the most okay, let's back up again. What's the most
mm,
bizarre? Because when he did a past life
yeah.
regression with me, I saw myself as a different being. A kind was it a gray? Maybe, but definitely in the same shape,
Hmm.
right? But I kind of saw a smile, so I don't know. But it was definitely a different being. So when you do past life regressions with others, is it a lot that it's a different race or species
It's
out
coming
there?
through a lot
Not race.
recently. So, recently being the last year. So, what I've found is that, so before, let's say last year, um, people would come for past life regressions and they'd be a farmer, or they'd be a soldier, or they'd be this, that, the other thing, right? But now what's happening is people are popping into off planet regressions, let's say.
Purposely
No,
or just like
no.
that? Okay,
Some
okay,
people
wow. Huh.
purposefully, because
Okay,
they've seen me interviewed and
okay.
they want to try it out. But sometimes
Purposefully,
it's
right.
just random, right? So some people are
Whoa.
just going
Okay.
there, and that's always fascinating when that happens because they didn't ask for it, right? They think, oh, maybe I was a princess, or something like
Cleopatra. Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Um,
of course. Yeah, yeah,
if
yeah.
if anyone ever tells me that they're Cleopatra or something in a past life, we're digging.
You
We're
know
gonna
it's
dig.
yeah,
We're gonna bring up all the stuff
yeah,
because
yeah. Your name might have been
yeah,
Cleopatra, but
yeah. But as Dolores Cannon calls them, they're sort of digging potatoes lives, right? Most of us are in the past, we're farmers, we're soldiers, we're digging potatoes lives, right? Boring, boring lives, right? Most of us. And if you think about today, the world today, most of us, aren't actors and actresses and big people, right? So it'll be interesting. It'll be really interesting, actually. Maybe 100 years ago, people doing past life regression, seeing what comes up for this time. But yeah, to back to your question, people are sort of. It's more like a popping into off world. And it's interesting because when somebody pops into an off-world regression, um, I'm I'm as confused as they are, right? Because I didn't know that they were going to go there. So it's up to me to ask certain questions like what's around you? What do your feet look like? Do you have feet? Like those kinds of things. Um, because they can be confused. I'm confused for a minute until I get my questions out and answered. But um, yeah, it's fascinating, and yeah, the mermaid, that was really interesting because it wasn't like,
because they were conscious
mhm,
beings, but they were
yeah,
aquatic.
yeah,
They breathe out. They did they breathe underwater,
yeah, yeah,
or were
yeah.
they just?
Hmm.
They kind of. I think you said they look like Mandy, but they kind of with a flat
Yeah,
face
big
or a
big
flat
teeth,
tail. I don't.
long tail, like long tail, not your typical like Ariel. There was no
Right.
there was no shell shell, you know, bras or anything. This was not that.
Oh, right. Of course, Disney plays it out a bit, but they were definitely
Yeah,
aquatic being
on a
on a
different.
different planet that were developed
Yeah,
like us, like they could communicate whatever,
yeah,
and that it like there's one that you
yeah,
brought up as well about which I still said myself must be the most boring life on this planet Earth, where they got attacked by those spiders underwater. Like their job was to get out there, kill the spiders,
yes.
come back in. There was no relationships. Like no, you're my
Uh-uh.
son. You're this. There's no love. There was
Yeah,
no like. It was like go kill, come
yeah,
back. No entertainment. No television. No,
nothing.
no way to.
Mhm.
It seemed like a
It
very
did.
boring
It did, and
experience,
going
right?
through that, that
Because
was a really that was really fascinating, and that actually we had to I was so confused in the beginning, that we had to re-anchor back into this life that they were, excuse me, living, and then go again, in order to for me to check like what's actually going on here, or is this just the conscious mind coming in, whatever. Because I thought that it was a life here on earth where there was a spider issue, right? Like she was scared of spiders or something, so, or she died by spider or something, so we had to come back and then go back, and then um yeah, it was really interesting because uh, no, it wasn't underwater. It was in like a dome. It's like a dome, and the dome kept them safe from the insects, the trash, right?
Trash.
Outside of the dome.
Called them
Yeah.
trash.
And so that was interesting too because I was
That's
like,
sad life.
trash? What the heck?
That's your life. Yeah, I gotta deal with trash every
I
day.
gotta go
That's
kill
it.
trash. Okay. So that was mixed. That mixed me up, right? But luckily,
Wow.
I've been doing this so long that we can get through it and figure it out pretty quickly. But
And did you end up helping this person with
yeah,
whatever
so that
issues
one
they were
wasn't like a as far as I can remember, it wasn't
serious?
something that was healing. Like it wasn't like a healing lifetime that needed to be looked at for something to heal.
Right.
It was more of a an experiential lifetime, like
Experience.
just
Yeah,
interested.
got you.
But that was really interesting because that had to do with how the being, I'm gonna say, was translating through her, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
that being got actually kind of, what's the word? Oh my gosh, just edit this part out. What's the word? I don't
Shitty.
want to say like a bad word, but I'm gonna say pissed off. The
An
the being got
asshole.
pissed off with me because like
Oh.
I was saying things like, okay, we're going to go to an important day that's in this lifetime for you. And the being was like, we don't have important days, right? So like, okay, sorry.
Oh.
I'm
eh,
sorry.
all our days are normal. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, like that, see that brings it up saying like that I would never want to have that life just even as an experience because it just seems too
It,
boring
it was,
in
well,
my
yeah, I don't
view of
know. I
things.
don't know if it wasn't boring for her, but the being, that was their life. Like it was no, there wasn't any important days. You just did what you did. You went back to your pod type um, home that was just small pod. Um, and then you had a mission, right? You had a mission. You go out on your mission. You do your mission. You come back. Um,
Like a soldier in a way
yeah,
that
so
takes out the
kills the
trash,
trash. Yeah,
kills the trash, comes
yeah,
back in, gets ready
hmm,
for the next
yeah,
killing,
yeah.
trash murder.
And during that, I think
Wow,
you might have heard
that's
this. During that experience, I had to when she kept saying trash, I was thinking, what in the world is happening here? So I had to actually switch consciousnesses and go back to her and ask her, does this person call spiders trash in this life? Right? And no, what are you talking about? Okay, let's go back.
so she called them trash, but the beings don't.
No, the beings call them trash, but she doesn't.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
she
yeah.
did. Ah, so that's
It
that.
was nuts. It was nuts.
I'm so curious
Yeah,
what they look like. I really do. Like, what do these trash look like?
yeah,
What do these beings look like? Like, there's so many. It's I think it's infinite types of. I mean, obviously we have infinite realities, parallel universes, right? Literally, like I made a choice right now where we didn't have the pot or that we never met.
yeah.
You know, like anyway. Point being, I think every choice makes a different reality. But that's a whole different
Mhm.
subject. But the amount, like I mentioned on our meeting, that my Star Trek obsession is because of their genius understanding. Gene Roddenberry's of the Federation of Planets. Like I mentioned, there's a Federation of
Yeah.
Light which actually exists, where you have to be accepted. Some, and that's I think is what I heard as well. Just to
Mhm,
bring that
mhm.
up, is that in the next shift we're having, I think in 2026, or I don't know what the specific date is, but we're gonna eventually be accepted into this galactic
In the
federation.
Federation, yeah.
So that means
Cool.
that we're going to be approved because right now we're just two. Yeah, I mean, it's called the United Federation of Planets. So similar, That's
Yeah.
what's just mind blowing for me. That's what I love. The fact that I get to experience it right now is the best part of it.
Right?
So one other thing I want to bring up is Dolores Cannon, which you brought up, right?
Mhm.
Dolores Cannon, she was ahead of her time, I
She
think.
was.
I loved listening to her because she did hypnosis like
Mhm.
you, same kind of concept, right? She spoke to people that had the kind of similar experiences. Like she mentioned extraterrestrials
Yes. Yeah.
all the time, right? So she was huge on that. She mentioned a shift,
Mhm.
a split,
Yep.
I think she called it. Our Earth
Yep.
is going to split, kind of predicting what probably already happened or is happening. So, what are your thoughts on her as far
Yeah.
as did she have a kind of like influence on
Oh,
you or
absolutely, yeah.
because she's
Yeah, absolutely. So I
okay,
took her
yeah.
training almost as soon as I graduated my regular hypnosis training. Um, but I've
Oh, okay.
taken past life regression training, life between lives training, soul entity release training, like just all the trainings. Um,
Wow, there's that many. I didn't know there
oh,
was that
there's
many
lots.
categories.
Yeah, there's lots.
All the is it all in the hypnotic or hypnosis
Yeah,
field? So there's
yeah,
different
yeah,
categories.
yeah.
Wow, that's a lot, and I did not
Right?
even know that.
So there's
Okay,
regular, yeah, there's
yeah, I mean,
regular
huh,
hypnosis, let's say regular, for
right.
individuals that want to release emotional stuff, stuck patterns, like
Quit
quit smoking,
smoking,
lose weight, feel better,
things a little bit. Right,
gain
right.
confidence, stuff like that. And then there's the metaphysical side, which I'm very attracted to because, like all my experiences. And so I work with NDEers to integrate their experiences. I work past life regression, life between lives, QHHT on occasion, but I found it a little too much like past life regression and life between lives to really continue down that road.
UHHT.
Dolores Cannon's QHHT.
That's what
Yeah,
it's called. Okay,
yeah.
I did not know that.
So
Okay.
amazing training. I would tell anyone to do it because it's fascinating. Um, but I found I had already done like so much training in that field already, in past life regression and life between lives, that I just didn't feel compelled to continue the training.
What's the difference between lives and past
So
life?
past life regression is going like off world or this world, right? Back in time to a past life that your
Right.
aspect that the aspect of you has lived. um, Life between lives is going into the realm between lives where we go after we pass, right?
So kind of an NDE
Yes,
in a way.
connecting to your higher self, soul guides,
Ah,
soul family, all that
whoa.
fun stuff.
Right. Which we all
Exactly.
have. Like I have a friend of mine. She saw an angel actually, which is crazy, in a mirror,
Oh my
hug her, which I brought up
god.
on one of our conversations. She saw it in the mirror. The angel hugged her. So
Yeah.
she's my best friend, and she's definitely part. She used to. Her brother passed away when he had schizophrenic. He had a lot happened, but she kind of saw him. She feels them. She has a gift, and she's definitely part of she's divine and part of the angelic realm. So they're her guides, I believe, but she's part of them. So I think you could be. I don't know if you could be an angel and live it as this, but she definitely has a lot of those
Beautiful.
guides. So I know I have an army of
Yeah.
guides. We all do. Uh, Definitely, I think Jesus is one of yours
Maybe.
for sure because he's an ascended master, and that happens a lot. People because he can be anybody's guide, but you have that connection to him. Why him? You're never a
Yeah.
Christian or a Catholic. You're never into that. Why him? Because you have a he's part of your
Yeah.
team, I
I don't know.
guess, because he's the
Yeah.
one who came through. You knew it was him, isn't that what did you?
Yeah.
Last thing I'm going to ask because we're closing up to our end here, but did Jesus communicate with you telepathically, or was it just you just feeling emotion? Like you knew what you had to do with that crystal when you received it. You kind of
I
knew what
knew
you had to
what
do.
yeah, I
So
knew
it was
what I
all
had to
knowledge.
do. There was no talking. It was just like it was just like a
Wow.
passing of the crystal into my hand, and then I would turn and literally put it in there, and then like it was like assembly line. Right.
Assembly line of giving them, like I guess it's maybe helping them get ready because they're. I think you mentioned their future. clients, or
Yeah,
were they
so I was, if you can
giving
imagine, I was finishing up training in hypnosis training, right, to become a hypnotist.
right?
And so I hadn't had any clients yet in hypnosis. And so when I
Oh,
had it,
so it's
yeah, I was
brand
like, who are these
new.
people? And then about a year ago, I did a meditation and sort of went there. And then it dawned on me, it like came to me that these people that I've worked with so far were my
There.
clients, or the people in the meadow, I should say.
I honestly think, from what I believe, it's an astral projection with you,
Hmm.
because outer body experience, you see your body,
Yeah.
right? You see
I
it.
think.
Astral is different. So, and who knows what levels, but you were
No,
definitely
I
not
was not
here.
here.
Your spirit was, you were physically here, but your true essence was in that meadow,
Yeah.
which you painted, met people, met Jesus himself,
Yeah.
praise that Lord.
Yeah.
That's just awesome. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, I'm just mind blown on. I feel so not. I feel so happy for what you've been through, because it's such
Yeah.
a beautiful experience. Because everyone has different experiences, but that's like, you didn't have to
No.
die to
And
see
that's what I think
Jesus.
when, you know, when I think about people struggling to have experiences, I think you can just keep at
Yeah,
it, and something,
yeah.
whether it's big or small, will happen probably, like just put yourself out there, imagine, feel, um and you just never know. Now my meditations throughout my life have, except I did a 10-day silent meditation where I had to just focus on my body, like an up and out thing. But generally my meditations are visual, right? So I'll just go somewhere beautiful in my mind and just sort of call for guidance or whatever. um, but nothing like that, nothing like the meadow. um,
Yeah, of course.
but I do believe that to get it started, just put yourself in a beautiful place. To get those spiritually transformative experiences started, put yourself into where you want to go in your mind. Don't just wait for.
The Galactic
Yeah,
Federation of
exactly.
Light,
Go
because
there.
you already been there.
Just fly
You
there.
went there.
Go.
You went there.
Right?
Hungry.
Oh my god. So yeah, I think it's almost like when I couldn't really hear God or source in my head any longer after that 4 weeks, and I was grasping, I realized I was not conversing. Like I needed to start the conversation again. Here I am waiting for like a booming voice from the sky. I need to start the
Where are
conversation,
you? But you had to get us
right?
right, because he came to
Yeah,
you
in a way.
at that
Yeah.
time. So that's you in a way. So it's like more because you were
Mhm.
searching for that, that specific, especially the advice and the
Right.
truth. It's
It's
just
hilarious.
so hilarious. I still can't go see how amazing that is. All that advice. That's so cool. Everybody can have
Yeah.
that kind of advice. I think a lot of grocery stores would be like, "Oh my god,
It's
we haven't sold
hilarious.
anything. We're closing down."
This is not.
Like, because all the crap, because this whole process is like
Oh my god.
the
Yeah.
God advice.
Yeah.
The label
God
saying God
approved.
approved.
Not like USDA approved. God approved.
Exactly. Like,
Oh.
honestly. So we're gonna wrap up here. It's almost been an hour. So what I'm gonna do, because this is my first podcast. Now, if you want, because I'm gonna put this once this YouTube channel is created, I'm gonna put your details there. But do you have? Can you give up some information on if people want to reach you or reach out to you, maybe schedule a past life regression, or how to contact you if you're comfortable with that to
Mhm.
help you, you know, help people? Because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be interested in, like, oh, I want to
I
go
go
where
to the
she
meadow.
went, or I want to see what my past
Oh.
life was, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't mind sharing that, and I'll attach it afterwards. But if you want to bring that up on how to contact you
Yeah,
as well,
so
if that's okay.
I'll send you, Brian, which it'll be in the show notes below. It'll have my website. You can go there. There will be a link to directly, if you don't want to waste time on the website. If you want to make a one-on-one consult, free consult with me, just click that link. And I'll probably have maybe my podcast link there to so you can binge podcasts if you like.
There we That's amazing because I want everybody to be able to stay connected. And yet again, like your timing on helping me, I really appreciate you putting out. We were scheduled multiple times, but you're helping me get out there, right? And helping each other is the best. So every time I get a podcast done as well, I'm gonna let you know so you can watch it on my
Awesome.
channel once it's launched. So I don't know exactly when it'll be. Hopefully in a couple of days because I gotta get to editing and have my friend create a video so I got a little introduction and I want to get
Yeah.
out there with a blast. So I'm gonna say thank you again for that time and that this conversation, and we will, I guess, keep in touch soon. So I'm gonna say thank you for that little hookup, and we'll definitely
Amazing.
keep in touch. All right.